What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is episode number 2 of the F1 My Career series with Weezot Racing. And if you guys did miss the last episode, be sure to go ahead and check that out. It was an exciting one to start the season off. As you guys can see here, season results in Bahrain. We did end up finishing 7th in the points for a total of 6 championship constructor points, which was pretty awesome if you ask me. But we are on to bigger and better things. Moving on to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah. It is, for me, a difficult course, but should be a fun one. Before we do get into that, I do need to update you guys on a few things that we've been doing in the facilities and R&D, as I've already simulated up to the race weekend. Facilities, we've gone ahead and upgraded the personnel pit equipment, as we did have a failure on our lone pit stop in the last race, so we want to boost their performance. So we got that up and running. And one of the other ones that I did, I've got to find it first, was we upgraded something on our driver. Here we go, driver perks. We went ahead and updated the power mapping driver perk for about $280,000 to get 10% reduced engine wear. I think that's per season. I could be wrong, but we've got that going for us. A few other R&D things going on. Right now, we were able to complete the secondary wing flap before this race, and we had already finished the plank, and we are in the process of completing the rear floor to get that squared away before the next Grand Prix weekend. And I can actually show you guys the R&D progress, minor impact for what we currently have in development right now with the minor for both. They're both in development. We've got rear downforce floor, stiffing stays, and rear floor underlay for the distribution. Again, we will eventually get those up, but this is the progress history of the vehicle itself. We are currently in last place. I think we're actually below Haas as of right now, but again, we were good enough for 7th in the last race. I don't expect that to continue on as we get into the full Grand Prix weekend moving forward. I fully expect this upcoming weekend to be a tough one, but the R&D progress history is there. Hopefully we can start jumping in front of some other teams, but let's go ahead and get into the weekend. Getting into the weekend here in qualifying number 1. Start off with a pretty good first lap on the qualifying as we buzz out of the last corner of the race, hitting DRS, looking to get a good time, and we do end up finishing first after our first lap in qualifying. Yes, we were the first car out of the garage, and we did end up finishing in 10th, which is good enough to take us to qualifying round number 2, which I honestly didn't think we would get, as well as even do well. And you can see here in the last corner, take it a little bit wide, over anticipate that, and we get back into the turn as we are currently sitting in 10th on our first flying lap in qualifying 2. We do end up getting all the way up to 4th, but it wouldn't last long as we would need to go again to solidify our 10th position and find a way to get into Q3 for the second time this season, which would be absolutely insane. And it goes to the wire. We do get that 10th spot, getting into qualifying number 3 for, again, the second time this season. And you can see here, out of the last turn, we are currently in 10th. It does not look good whatsoever. And you will see here with the finish, we do finish in 10th for qualifying round number 3. But again, we made it to Q3. That is very encouraging with the car that we've got, but we'll go ahead and get ready for the race itself.
We're here today on the shores of the Red Sea in the Lower Hijaz Mountains to visit one of the newest circuits on the Formula One calendar. We're in Jeddah, home to what we all hope is going to be a thrilling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Russell, Sainz, Norris, Gasly, Skip, Stroll, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Ocon, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Sargent, and the owner-driver rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment.
Gotta have a good start to the actual race weekend, and it is 5 red lights are out and we are underway here. Kind of a shocking start from Lando Norris and a bunch of other folks as we find ourselves all the way up to 3rd place after a very strong turn on the first 2 turns there. Great start to the weekend for us here at Jeddah. Typically this track is not so kind to us, but we were able to get a very strong start beating out the Ferrari of both Leclerc and Sainz as they had very poor starts, but we are able to keep this up for a little bit of the races. We know it will not last the whole time as we've got an exciting pass here. Norris trying to take us on the final turn. We come back strong. Him and Leclerc are trying to get up the field and battling for those top positions as we are just trying to stave them off and continue a good race in the air, coming quickly on our tail, and we get 3 wide at one point on the main straight, trying to find a way to attack them back, but just unable to do so with our downforce and top line speed on our car. It's just not enough to really stick with these top guys as we almost run into the back of Lando Norris there. A little bit of under braking, but thankfully we are able to hold on strong all the way now up to lap number 10. Still nothing really crazy happening in this race, but we've got to have a good pit stop on this one if we want to continue on for a position in which we think will be in the points for the 2nd race in a row, which would be absolutely insane for Wizot Racing. You can see Alonso getting out of the pits. We get an optimal pit stop, and with that pit upgrade, it does give us an extra second for optimal speed, and we have a good pit stop, no issues on the day, and that gets us all the way up to 9th position, just ahead of Gasly and Piastri, which is good enough to see us all the way pretty much until the end of the race. We were able to keep it clean, no issues for us or any other teams when it comes to racers being out. I believe Nico Hulkenberg might have been the only one who would have retired, but we have a very poor turn in this chicane on the last lap of the race, and Sergio Perez in the RB finding a way to get through. We kind of almost squeeze him out there and cause a massive crash on the back straightaway, trying to get something going in this last chicane. Just over anticipate that turn a little bit too much, and that loses our position, but we know there's a big hairpin on the very last turn, and we are going to do our very best to full-blown send it, and we almost end our race, pretty much losing our front right wing. It is going to cause us some damage cost at the end of the race, but we did find a way to hold on for a points finish. That is 2 constructors points, finishing in 9th. A very good race from Wizot Racing, at least with our car. Very, very encouraged. Carlos Sainz gets driver of the day. We'll go ahead and watch the celebrations, but a very good race. We'll come back to you guys in just a second with the standings of both the race and the Constructors' Championship.
Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
And you can see here another solid weekend from Weezot Racing. We were able to finish in 9th again for 2 Constructors Championship points, which is amazing as that gets us closer to our season goal for our sponsor, which is worth a lot of money at the end of the season. And we'll take a look here at the full Constructors standings. We are, again, finished 9th. Our teammate did finish last. I thought Hulkenberg had a DNF, but that is a great weekend for us, currently sitting in 6th in the Constructors. But that's going to be it for this one. If you guys did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button. We will be back next time for episode number 3, but I hope you guys have a good one, and we will see you next time.